Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, everybody. Oh, we've got quite the shadows going on today. I don't know what's going to go on with the sunlight, but you might just see half of my face. Um, anyway, hi. So, thank you for coming on to watch this. I am absolutely loving these tea break chats and Q&A sessions. So, I hope that you are too. I mean, if you're watching them, that says something. So, but yeah, I'm really loving them. So, this morning, I do have my tea. It looks extra milky. It's chai. I don't know why it's so super milky today. And if you're following my stories at all, you saw that yesterday I had like an enormous haul of raspberries from my garden. So I do have my bowl of raspberries here too, which I'm going to munch on and hope that I don't get any bugs by not paying attention. That's the trade-off of having fresh fruit from your garden is you can't guarantee it's bug-free. Anyway, so now that that's all sorted, I think so. I never really know what I'm going to talk about with my general life chats. It kind of just comes to me at the spur of the moment. But I think one thing I was going to, what I'm going to start with, because I love a good celebration. And if you've been, hanging out in my world for a while, you'll probably know that. But if you're new, then just so you know, I love a good celebration. Big things, little things, all the things in between. I think it's really, really helpful celebrations to anchor into that good, amazing feeling and to hold on to that and to tell your body, this is what I want to feel like. Please have more of this. Because whatever you're drawing in, whatever you're feeling, you will draw in more of. So for me, celebrations are a really great way to anchor into that good, happy, excited feeling and bring in more of that feeling. So the thing that the shadow is, hold on, my tripod's falling. Tripod, I say it wrong every time. Okay, we're just gonna see how this goes today. So celebrations, yeah, they draw us in. So I want to share a celebration with you, which is this week. A wonderful, very brave and amazing woman has signed up for my 3-month coaching package. Now, she and I have worked together before, and so she knows what's gonna come here. Well, she does, but she doesn't, because it's different every time, isn't it? But we have worked together in one-on-one coaching before and did such amazing work together. And then she's taken a break and let it all sink in. And, life happens in the middle. And now it's time to dive back in and do some more work together. Which I would just like to point out is actually how I've worked with. I've had 2 main coaches since I've been doing all this work. And that's how I've done it too. I've done some one-to-one and then I've taken a break and then done some more one-to-one. And it's what's worked for me because I need to let life happen in the middle. And that's exactly what this wonderful woman is doing. And so I just want to celebrate that she is saying yes to herself again, that she knows it's time to go up to that next spot, to work on some of the stuff we worked on before, to bring in some new things. And it's going to be so amazing. So I just wanted to share that celebration with you and to commit publicly, I guess, that I want to share these celebrations and feel this celebration throughout my entire coaching career. I want to celebrate client number 1, client number 10, client number 100, client number 1000. I want to celebrate every single one of the women who decide that they want to work with me and to invest this time and money in themselves and in their journey and in their growth and expansion and in their intimacy with themselves. It doesn't matter whether it's the first or the 1000th or anywhere in between. Every single person who says yes to this is so worthy of celebration, and it's so very exciting. So this is my public commitment that I celebrate my clients. I celebrate you. I celebrate me when I say yes. Big fan of celebrations. So that was the first thing. Then the next thing I was going to talk about today actually was, so obviously last week, if you saw my Q&A tea break session last week, I was in a slightly different location. I was sitting outside my office on the ground to try and shelter from the wind. And I mentioned then that it was the day before our financial year end and that, I needed to be in the office, and so things were a little bit for year end. I occasionally talk about my day job, but not all that often. I have been talking about it more lately since a good friend on here, Charlotte, thank you, pointed out that I don't talk about my day job much, and why not? And it really got me thinking. I've been thinking about it. She mentioned this a while ago, and I've been thinking about it. And I think part of it is, and this, I feel like this sounds so silly to say out loud, but I think part of it is that I thought you wouldn't take me seriously as a coach if I also had a day job. Which, as I say it, sounds like utter nonsense to me. I don't know why you have to do something full time to be very good at it. That is not the case at all. But I think that was probably part of it. Was like, oh, if people know that I have a day job or like I talk about that, then they're going to be like, oh, well, she's not a real coach anyway, is she? So, I do have a day job. Like I said, I've been talking about it more lately, so you know that by now. I'm a corporate accountant. You also know that if you've been watching, because I mentioned it last week and I mentioned it before that. But I am going into, so we hit our financial year end last year, so it was June 30th. Last week, I mean June 30th. I will now spend the next 3 months, like, throwing myself into my work to produce the annual report. It's a very, very big deal. It's like I do most of my work for the full year in these 3 months. It's a tough time for me. Last year, during this time, I tried to pretend that it kind of wasn't happening. So I didn't, there were little snippets of it here and there. I think I would put on my stories or my posts that like, it's a busy time at work, you know, I'm busy, I'm quiet, sorry about that. I know the year before I posted saying like, I'm going into a black hole, see y'all on the other side. Last year I tried to keep up with like, you know, here's good stuff that's happening, but I didn't really talk about, and here's all the really stressful stuff. I'm not quite sure, you know, what will come out in my stories and posts this year because they come out on the fly, but I want to share more of it because the fact that I have this really crazy, stressful project going on that's going to last for 3 months, that does not take away from my coaching ability, not even the slightest. In fact, in a lot of ways, it adds to what I am able to do and hold. Like, I have learned so many lessons, especially the last 2 years. So I've been doing this, well, I've been an accountant for my whole adult life, but I've been in this job this is my 7th season going through this particular year-end process. So I've got lots of experience doing it. But in particular, these last 2 years, doing it as a single mom has been different. And as a single mom, first of all, but second of all, having started on this personal growth journey, and I decided I want to show up differently because in the past I would like totally lose myself in it and I was just like gone for 3 months and it would suck every like bit of joy out of me. And the last 2 years I decided I don't want to do it that way. I know what living life and enjoying life feels like. I'm not giving that up again. It's tough. It's not quite that simple. It really does take a lot of time and energy. But that said, I still get to hold these standards for myself, take care of myself, love myself, find pockets of pleasure where I can, etc. So I am going to talk about it more this year. I don't know, like I said, I don't know how, but I am going to talk about it more because the fact that I am doing this like massive freaking juggle for the next 3 months is a big deal. And I'm going to be doing that juggle while still finding those pockets of pleasure, finding joy in my life, you know, just doing all the things I'm still doing. But those almost have more weight if you know a bit about like all this other stuff that's going on. It's easy to look at somebody's Instagram and think like, oh, well, of course she gets to, you know, lounge out in the sun at lunchtime because what else does she have going on? Or like, of course she's like stopping to smell the beautiful flowers because she's got all the time in the world. Nah, not the case. I am doing those things because I have all of this other stuff going on, and I know the way to keep me happy, loving life, or at least not hating life, is by having lunch in the sun, even if it's only 5 minutes. Sometimes it is literally like my day is nonstop. My Teams is ringing, my phone is ringing, people are asking me questions, my email's exploding, and I literally just have to like shut all down and take 10 minutes to eat lunch outside in the sunshine and just listen to the birds, and then the chaos resumes. So if I only post the picture of that, you're like, well, obviously, because she's just like, you know, a lady of leisure. Whereas if I say that actually, like, my day is crazy hectic and here's how I'm finding time for myself, I think that that is far more helpful, because it gives you permission to take whatever all the crazy busy stuff in your life is, because we all have stuff, whatever it is, we all have stuff. And it gives you permission, and it can show you how, it can show you a little blueprint of how to take this time out for yourself, even in the midst of all of the craziness. So that's what's to come. I promise I'm not going to like bore you with details of my corporate accounting job, because nobody wants to hear that, I know. But I am going to I'm not going to hide the fact that I'm working at night, I'm working late hours, I'm stressed out with stuff. Like, it's okay for me to share that, and it's okay for you to know that. Okay, moving on to questions. So this is I'm gonna take the tone down a bit, lower the energy a little bit. No, actually, first I'm gonna have some raspberries. Check for bugs. So the question that's come up this week, and it was framed as a question, but also I have been having these conversations with a lot more people lately, which is why I want to talk about it today, is around divorce. So today is the divorce chapter of this series, this tea break series. And I mean, I have so much to say on this. It's not like I can cover it all in the next 10 minutes. That would be ridiculous. But I just want to, dip our toes into it. So the question that I got asked was, how did you know when your marriage was over? How did you know when it was time to call it done, when it was time to divorce? How did you know? And it's such a big question, isn't it? And like I said, I've been having this conversation lots lately in various different contexts, so I know this is going through people's minds. And the first thing I want to say is, it's very different for everybody. Everybody's relationship is very different. Everybody's circumstances are very different. Everybody's how you process and deal with things is different. There is absolutely no, there's no tick list of once these things are checked off, then that means the marriage is over. Once these things are done, then it's time to sign the papers. It would be so much easier if you could just be like, yep, or, nope, that's not done, so that means we're staying together. There isn't that. There is no set map or rule book or checklist. That said, I have certainly felt for myself and then heard from so many people I'm talking to some kind of common denominators. And the most annoying part of this answer, you're going to want to hit me for this. Don't, violence is not the answer. You're going to hate me when I say it. The answer is, you just kind of know. And until you know, you're probably going to be thinking, what does that even mean? Because that's how I thought. I don't know what that means. But once you do know, you know. And that can be, people talk about divorce, I feel like it's this event. An event happens. You decide to break up, you divorce, it's done. And that's not the reality of it at all. There is often, either from one party's perspective or the other or both, but there is often some kind of fairly lengthy sometimes lead up to that decision in the first place. There's quite a period of time where, like I said, it's not always both people, but one or both people in the relationship feel this changing and feel this sense. Sometimes one person can get caught off guard, like I kind of did. Although in hindsight, I can look back and see all the lead up to it. I didn't know it at the time. But in other cases, both people in the relationship can feel it. So there is usually some sort of lead up. Then there's and that happens even before you're thinking the D word. It's just that things are happening in your relationship. Then there's usually a period of time where the divorce word is said and you spend some time thinking about, is this happening? Is this going to happen? How's it going to go? Then you decide to divorce. Then there's another period of time. Then there's the post-divorce, and there's all the transition after that. So divorce is not like this one event that just happens and that's it. It can be quite a process, quite a timeline. So in terms of that, back to that question of like, but how do you know? When do you know? There's often, in that lead up to it, there can be feelings of, oh, this isn't working for me right now. I'm not happy with this. I feel disconnected. I feel this, that, or the other. But I want to make this work. I love this person so much, and I really want to make this work. Like, how can we get back together? How can we fix this? And there can be a period of trying all the things, or sometimes there's not. Sometimes one person's trying and the other one's not. But ultimately, what I am hearing from all the people around me is you eventually reach a point of, you know what, I don't even want to try anymore. I've got nothing left to give to this. Maybe sometimes it's I can say I've tried all the things and it hasn't worked. Sometimes it's, I can see that there's more that I could try, and I just can't be asked. I just don't have it in me anymore. Like, maybe it's, we've been working all these things, but like we haven't actually gone to couples therapy yet, but I just can't be asked to go. I don't even, what's the point? Or maybe it's the other side. Maybe it's like my partner is trying all these things and I can see them trying and I can see them putting in this effort. I can see them making these changes. And I feel like my brain says, oh, well, they're trying that, so I need to stick around and, like give that a chance. But actually what you're feeling is, you know what? Those changes aren't going to be enough. They're too little, too late, or it's not the right change anyway, or, you can feel that, like, I can see you doing that and it's not the right answer. It's not going to make a difference in the long run. And everybody who I've been talking to about it has that kind of like, oh, it's just not going to be enough kind of feeling. And for me, so my story, I didn't have the lead up to it where I wasn't the one thinking about it. I got caught off guard. And then, so my ex cheated on me, told me he cheated on me, told me that he wanted the marriage to end. And, the from the external perspective, it can sound like, well, that was the end of it, right then? Like, that was it. I spent months and months waiting for him to change his mind, waiting for him to say, actually, let's give this a go. Me saying, I'm not sure if we can work through this, but I want to try. It wasn't I'm gonna, I want you back, it wasn't me saying, yeah, like, I'll, whatever it takes, just come back to me. It wasn't that at all. I very much recognized that we were in a very, very broken place. But I was saying, I want to try. I don't feel like we have tried. I want you to come and give this a proper shot between us. And I spent months in that place of like, please, can you come and give us, a shot here? And it was, like I said, literally months and months of this until I finally realized, and all of this was kind of happening in me. It wasn't a me and him thing. It was a me thing. And eventually I got to the point where I was like, you know what? Actually, I don't care if he changes his mind. I don't want this anymore. And again, up until then, I had been feeling like he had made the decision and how it was, insanely unfair that he had made this decision without me, and didn't I get a decision in it? And then when I got to that point of like, actually, it doesn't matter if you change your mind. It's not what I want. I felt like this is my decision to make, and I am done with this marriage as well. It was broken. It broke. And actually, I don't want to put in whatever it would take to try and get that back, because I don't want that back either. And I got to the point of, I can see something else in the future. I don't know what it is, but something bigger, and that's going to make me a lot happier. And so I just knew. But like I said, it took months and months. And I'm hearing very similar things. I keep repeating that phrase, but of people going, we're going to try, we're going to do this, we're going to stay together for the kids. That's a big one that comes up. We got to stay together for the kids. I can see he's putting in this effort. And actually, then over time, it's you know what? That's not going to be the right answer for us. And I can see him making changes, and they're not the right changes. Or I don't want to, he wants me to make these changes that I don't want to make because that's not in line with what I want. All of that is a very long-winded way to answer the question of when you know, you just tend to know. Sometimes the marriage ends before you reach that point. I will say that as well. Sometimes one person in the relationship makes that decision and the other person, like I had felt for a while, didn't feel like they had that choice. It's like the marriage has ended and I'm still sat here going, WTF, where did my life go? But if you do the work and you get, you sit with this and you do that inner healing, I think you will reach that point of knowing as well. But the question that came to me was more from the person making the decision. And from the person making the decision point of view is, you'll know. And when you do, it's generally kind of sad. But again, there's no like right or wrong way to feel about this, but it often can feel quite sad. It can feel a relief. It can feel like a resignation. You can feel all kinds of things, but generally, once you reach that point of knowing, there's kind of no going back. You at that point, pretending that like, oh, it's still going to work, it's just not going to work anymore. That is when it's time to start having those difficult conversations. If you haven't been already, start, figuring out what you got to do, getting the paperwork together, and going forward from there. This was kind of a bigger, heavier topic, like I said, I've been talking about with lots of people lately, so please feel free to send me a message if this is something you want to talk about more. I've only experienced one version of it, but I have been hearing lots and lots more versions from both parties, from both people's perspectives, and it's a big thing. I think the final thing I want to say before I wrap up with this is that there still seems to be a very strong, what's the word I'm looking for? Just a strong feeling of kind of shame and secrecy around the end of marriages, around divorce, and people really feeling like you can't talk about it. And I want to blow that up because A, it's quite common. B, it does not need to be a shameful thing. You have not failed in your marriage. It does not mean you have a failed marriage. It just means that it has drawn to a close and it's time for a new chapter. And I really want to just dispel the myth that it needs to be a big secret and can't be talked about it in like hush hush voices. And you guys, you're not alone in this, okay? And there are lots more people who are going through this, and it can be really, really helpful to talk about it. So please know that if your marriage doesn't feel like it's the way you want it to feel right now, or you're considering divorce, or you're going through divorce, or somebody sprung divorce on you, or whatever it is, it's okay, and you are not alone, and I promise you that you will survive this, okay? It does not need to be the end of your life. There's so much more out there, but it's okay to talk about it. So I'm going to say divorce. I'm going to wrap up now. I just want to say that I'm going to segue nicely into, and if you want support in any of this, so there are, like I said at the beginning, one of my one-to-one spots is filled, which is very exciting. That means I only have one 3-month package left. So because of all of this crazy busy work time, I've limited my spots to 2 one-to-one coaching spots at this time, because I know that that's what I can hold comfortably, and I want to make sure that I give my clients, all the full energy and attention that they deserve. And 2 is where I've set my limit at the moment, my energetic limit. So 1 is full, 1 is left. So that means that I've got my all-in 3-month package, which gets you 3 video calls a month, plus Voxer support in between. Voxer is a texting voice note app, so you get support in between Monday through Friday. That is £2,000, and we can jump in right away. And the other way to do it is I've also got like a mini package, because if you're not ready for the 3 months, then you can sign up for 3 one-to-one sessions, and that's £444. That does not include Voxer support, so that is just the 3 hour-long video calls. If you want to upgrade to Voxer support as well, we can talk about that. But the 3 standalone sessions are £444, so that's a good way to go in if you just want to get started with it. My July mastermind has closed for now, so there are 2 people in that, and we get to do this wonderful loving and supporting of each other. But so the July window has closed. I will run a new one starting August 1st. So if you want to join the group mastermind, that will be coming up this next month. But for now, it's just the one-to-one coaching options, either the 3 sessions or the 3 months together. So send me a message if you're interested in those at all. But be quick, because once the spots fill, well, then they are full. And I won't get to open up any more until October, when life resumes a bit more normality for me. So I hope that was helpful. I know that was kind of a long one. In fact, I think I'm getting longer at these. I'll try and keep next week's a bit shorter. But questions, comments, join the conversation, let me know, and I'd love to hear from you. I will be doing this again next Wednesday, 10 o'clock. Watch my stories for the prompt to send questions, or send them in a message whenever you want this week, and I'll keep track of them. And we'll chat again next week. Okay, love you lots. Bye.